So the thing is, if you get permission, you can use it. Like if it's educational, that type of thing. But the thing is, we had. What's that? Oh, so actually, we have our own music that we bought, that we made, but I don't know where that is right now. You used that open house because when we streamed that out, we were able to use it, and yeah. So is this too loud? Is it? Yeah. Is this too loud? It's fine. All right. So Lucien, is it time to go? Okay. So let's bow in. Okay. Salute. So I thought Nan might have come today, but I guess she's not. Okay. Ready? Hands up. First exercise. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. To the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, to your left, center, inhale, exhale. Hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, 2, 3. To your left, 2, 3. Center, inhale, exhale. Okay, hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, 2, 3. To your left, 2, 3. Center, inhale, exhale. Okay, hands in waist. Circular movements. 1, 2. There's Maria. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Okay, reverse, other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 97.7, 9, 10. 1, 2. Okay, next, knees, cross your arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Okay. So it's like an echo chamber because my mic is inside the mask. So, okay, ready, neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, and stop. Center, tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, center, rotating. 1, 2, 3, reverse. 1, 2, and 3. Center, hands up. Pull in, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, spread the feet, turn the shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Center, stretch it out. Switch. 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 Okay, straighten the front knee. Okay, switch. 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 Okay, center. Okay, shake it out. Okay, hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, shoulder roll. Hands on your waist. Circular movements. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, and stop. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Press. Release. Exhale. Inhale. And stop. Hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, wrists. Okay, reverse. Okay, palms down. Bigger circle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, shake it out. Okay, let's shift from side to side and do the golden cockroach stands on one leg. So we Shift over, find the center. Okay, shake it out. Okay, let's do a few leg swings. Get the legs, arms swinging toward the center line. Okay, get the send the legs going. And center. Okay, switch. And center. Side to side. And switch. Other side. Okay, shake it out. Hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands like this. Silk grilling. Okay, switch. Okay, Sana. Cloud hands. Okay, Sana. Cross, open and close. Switch. Okay, Sana. Feet parallel. Circular movements, preparation. Okay, Sana. Lower hoop. shoulder height. Elbows down. Palms down. Extend. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, this time we'll do the cloud hands with the shift to the side. So let this hand down, let it relax. So when this is down, there's your vertical line. Now when you start to step out, if you were to turn, that's when your arm starts to begin to wrap around. Okay, shake it out. Okay, diagonal flying. Switch. Okay, Sana, carry tiger to the mountain. Infinity sign. Form the fists. Okay, palms together, strum the lute. Okay, thumbs up. Okay, switch. Okay, turn, draw the bow. Okay, fan through the back. Okay, raise the hand. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, good. Want to get some fresh air? So you can't, just in case you're about to pass out. Okay. Yeah, I'll open this a little bit. Yeah, then we'll close it. Oh, it's the other one. The other one. Yeah, because this side open. I get it. I get it. Okay. So we can run through the form first. Okay. Ready? Okay, preparation. Okay, we're ready. Grasp the sparrow's tail, right side after this opening. Repulse the monkey 3 times. Insert the needle, fan through the back. Turn, parry and punch. Step up, form the fist, and punch. Divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms. Leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Carry tiger to the mountain. Cross the hands. Raise the hand. Left side, bend from your waist. Stork flap swings going to your left. Left side, grasp the sparrow's tail. Hook your wrists. Single whip. Hold the ball in reverse. Diagonal flying. Sit back, stroke down, part the horse's mane. Step up. Stroke down, part the horse's mane. Cross corner. Cross corner. Turn back to the front. Single whip. Cloud hands. So, while we practice the sequence all the time, how do we refine the movements? Refining the movement is really creating the shape and the pattern and the manipulation of that skeleton that we talk about. So, when we speak of muscle memory, it's really manipulating your skeleton. Muscle memory really controls angular position. That's what it is. You're in a vertical position and everything's aligned, and you're in a vertical up position. When your arms are like this, elbow out or vertical, that's the vertical and horizontal lines. Then the slant movement, to get your hand to go from point A to point B, it just doesn't happen that it goes from here to here, because if you look at my hand, this is a slant and it goes to here. So when I go from here to here, this elbow and this shoulder can be in different varying positions, still getting the hand to go from A to B, depending on the angle of the hand, the position of the elbow, and how your body tilts and slants and goes to a certain point. So that's really regulated not from here, but from what goes on in here, because that has to be constantly controlled in order for you to create the plane of movement, where this plane, the palm is like this, right? So that's directional. When we form the fist, we do this, right? So when we form the fist, the hand does that. So when we step up, say, in the form, in a neutral position, and we step up, and we form the fist, your hand has to go through this, because we're turning from this side to this side. So if you preset the hand, then you step up, and then you're here, and you punch and do that. It's separate. We separate it to learn this movement. We separate this to learn this movement. We go from this side to learn that movement. We have to combine all the those pieces and components. So if I'm in a neutral position here and I begin to form my fists and I begin to turn my foot out, you see how my foot is turning out? So does my arm to form the fists, and we got to here. Now my hand, see my hand is a little bit straighter than that. It's not like this, it's like this. So we're here. 1, 2, 3. So to get from this point to this point, I also had to turn my shoulders from this side to this side, right? So if I do that, and I'm turning on the way around, I'm resetting and then turning, and then punching, and then back. So we have right, left, forward, and back. So where's the right, left? When I'm here, if I turn, I'm turning to the right, but I'm coming back to the center. And then I bring the other hand to here while I'm forming the fist. Now when I'm forming the fist, this is going in this direction, then this changes and goes forward, then there's an exchange that goes backwards, then you go out, in, and out, then there's an exchange. So your elbows have to relax, your shoulder has to relax, the knees have to relax, the hip has to relax, and you have to transfer your weight. A lot of things are going on. You know, how does that all happen? It happens because everything that goes on in those movements has to enter a subconscious behavior where you don't actually think about it. It becomes subconscious, because the conscious part of the movement is when you're learning it, you think about it and you pay attention to it. But you can only really be conscious of one thing at a time. So if you have all these things going on and you're trying to be conscious of all of it, none of it's going to work. It's not going to be connected. So subconscious movement has to be such that this is be already innate in the movement. So how the hands correlate to each other becomes something that happens up here. That's what motor skill does, and motor skill is really programming into your body. Because we're creatures of habit, when you do things over and over again, it becomes second nature. Second nature is something that becomes a conscious thing. You learn it in one part of the brain, then it shifts to another part of the brain that takes it into a different level of movement. Once it enters sort of an action that's not really reflex action, it's just happening because of the innateness of the motion. It's in your body. Then your body will go through the movement without thinking, and then it approaches reflex. Reflex action is something that comes out of a spontaneous action that doesn't require thinking. That's what a reflex is. So reflexes happen based on the fact that your body knows it. So to get to that stage of movement, it takes time. That's all. It's really a factor of time. And how you practice. So if you don't reach a certain level of consciousness or subconscious behavior, then the movement is always on this conscious level where you always kind of think about it and it doesn't go anywhere. So that's what a threshold is. You reach this point and say, well, how do I improve? So you really don't know what it really means to improve other than the fact that you work at it. So you have to have information. That information is the theory and the principles and concepts. So this idea that when we're forming the fist, say we just parried and punch. Well, when we sit back, our hands begin to move. So when the hand begins to move, it passes through this. And while you're going through the movements, all of your parts or components start to blend. And then your body knows. So you have, each of these are a final position. You have this, say parry and punch, you have this. So this is your final position. Once my hand goes to the next position, you pass through another vertical. The hands are like this until your body squares and then starts to twist. And then it separates because of the upper body rotation. See, my hands are like this, and I fold my elbows, and I turn my body, the hands separate. It separates because it's a function of a rotation. Now, if I do this, then that's isolated movement. If I do this, that becomes an active-passive movement, right? So between active and passive is a blend of movement, but a passive movement is a function of something else. So if I go like this and I turn, the action creates a passive action created by the fact that I turn. When I punch, the punch, although it's called a punch, is passive because it's driven by my waist. So all these actions that you create, active and passive movement, becomes gentle, soft, and intrinsic because it's no longer a physical movement. It's movement directed by the mind. So that's what Tai Chi means when they say use your mind and not strength. When you move like that, then you create circulation and you create tremendous interaction between the mind and the body, which is what creates circulation and the energy in the body to create the movement. Your movements are created by energy. This energy is created and developed in the cellular level, as part of the physiology of how the musculature works. So it's not as physical as you would think on a physical level. So when it's a total physical type of thing, you waste a lot of energy because you're using your musculature more than it's really required. So today everybody thinks exercise, we need to exercise and we need to pump iron and build our body so we're really strong. But the reality is, how strong do you need to be? As you get older, you actually do less physical things than necessary. When you're young and you're very physical, then you need to have that energy and you have to have the support, whether it's an aerobic support, which is actually the ability to bring enough oxygen to your muscles so that you can function. Otherwise, you become exhausted and you're depleted and you start to hyperventilate or even pass out because your body becomes, there's an oxygen deficit there that you don't get enough oxygen. But when you're doing this, why aren't we hyperventilating and breathing hard? And the heart is working like crazy because it's not very physical. If you're sweating and getting exhausted doing Tai Chi, it's too physical. So that's what really we're trying to achieve, is this level of intrinsic movement where everything is working together. That's a better way to move because that's how we're supposed to move. Just that we become dysfunctional over the centuries and decades of evolution and becoming, someone that doesn't have to do much. With technology, we do an advancement in different skills, we start to do less physical. So you supplement that. What do you supplement? You supplement it by going to a gym. You use apparatus. You do all these crazy things to, make your body stronger. So it's a big business to do that. You can buy all these machines and do it, but most people buy the machines and they end up sitting there and you hang clothes on them because people aren't disciplined enough. But the other thing is, if you're using an apparatus to do something, you're limited to that apparatus because it only works certain groups of muscles. It's not really building coordination. It's building what that machine teaches you to do. So if it's a cycling machine, a rowing machine, whatever it is, you're just developing that. So you're good for that. But, something like rowing, other than rowing, what do you need it for? You're working the muscles, but when you get out and you have to do something that's very refined, does that rowing help your refinement of something that is maybe spatial and artistic? Or so it's different. What you build up here is a tremendous amount of knowledge that really teaches your body to develop body intelligence, something that most of us lack. So when I talk about this stuff, that's really, I try to get that information across so you understand the difference and why something like this works, it's as building a motor skill and refinement. Because this type of motor skill is called functional training. Even though there's functional training in other ways, that's functional for sports. We're talking about functional training for daily activity, standing, moving, balance. Those are the type of things that we lose as we get older, right? So that's something that's important. No one would believe that this happens because it's done in slow motion and it's boring. And it takes a lot of, mindfulness and discipline to do something like the Tai Chi form. So just learning something like this is a motor skill. Something like this is integration of your body and how we move as we shift our weight and go forward and back, and we divert and block and punch. Then we step up going through a hoop position, and then coming back to here, say to do grasp the sparrow's tail. In the long form, that's what would happen. And then we would sink and turn, drop the elbow, and find that next posture. So because a form you can't see yourself. This we can track it. When we move around, unless you were in a space with 8 mirrors, you wouldn't actually be able to see yourself doing it. So you really can't see the relative position based on spatial awareness, which is what proprioception is. So we need to look at the 8 sides. No, you really don't have to look at this, because the realm of your movement only passes through these corners. And that's the extent of your body movement, regardless of whether you're going 360 or whatever, you're only working within the realm of these positions. So between here and there. So it's always, your reference point is the front, the center, and the 2 corners. That's it. That's all you can track, because you don't, the 6th sense of proprioception is the feeling that you have that's behind you, but it's really just an idea. But most of everything that we see is perceived in this space. And then you have depth. The depth is perception. That perception is controlled and developed by the visuals that you see as a depth of field and movement. So catching a ball that comes at you, you have to gauge the depth of field and the distance and the timing. That's experience. So, that's because reflex. Catching a ball over here is very hard to do, because you don't have the depth of field. On the side, it's even harder, because you can't really relate to what that space is. So, all the things that we do is really building that kind of thing. So the form, like what Julia's doing, the forming the fist, this is tandem in pairs. So there's no real waist movement, right? Because you can't go from right to left, because which way is going right and which one is going to go left. So if you were to do this, you'd have to do this. You'd have to go this way and create the 2 fists this way, because now they're in pairs in the same direction. But without the turn, or turning like this to create forming the fist, then you have dimension. But when you're doing one hand, it's what you're doing is this that comes into here, and this comes into here. So this and this has to be tied into what's going on in the lower body. So that's how complicated some of the movements can get. So is it necessary? Well, probably not. In general, it's probably not necessary, but is there an advantage of doing it? it's tremendous benefit to this. The movement itself is just really to develop this. Brain plasticity, neurons, motor neurons, because they know that you continue to build new networks. But those networks won't happen, so I call it the physical side of learning. When you use your brain to learn this, it wires your body. When you wires your body, then your body becomes functional. Just thinking is not enough. You have to actually activate those neurons by using this concept, and you actually create tremendous amounts of networks that actually, otherwise how could you do these movements? If we only have one line of movement, all we would be doing is this. But we can do a lot of things, but if we don't use it, we actually will lose it. It becomes dysfunctional. All right, so let's go through the long form. Okay, ready? Extra one. Palm strikes face. Single lotus. Brush knee, left side push. And close the form. Okay, deep breathing. So, the form is made up of 37 postures. And each posture, even though, it's all strung together in the form, you still have to extract each one of these pieces as a unit, because there's a beginning of one movement, right, and the end of another. So the beginning of that mini sequence is what you have to link together, as you string this form together. But the way to perfect each one of the postures, or at least identify with it as it shows up in the different parts of the form, is to make that correlation as, I guess, maybe as common categories of movement. Parry and punch, palm strikes face, high pat the horse. These are all sort of movements that are kind of generic within the sequence, total form. But you have to work the body form, work the coordination between the hands and the legs. And you work through sort of isolating those postures, whether it's strum the lute, form the fist. These are all units, like this. This is parry and punch. So when we're like this, we just came from the fan through the back and we stroke down. So we bring the hands together like this. Now look at your hand. Now if your hand's like this or like this, something creates a tension is here. You have to let that go. If the movement is stroking down, then the movement should unfold and you have to let the ligaments and tendons align. Because I'm going forward, I sink here and push off the back leg. That brings us to the front. Now when we invert the hand and we sit back and we turn, we have to relax the hip. Relax the hip. That's why the front foot doesn't turn with it. Because you disconnected the front hip to allow, to accommodating that turn. Then this hand comes in here and then comes over to this front position. So that's parry and punch after fan through the back, right? So we did palm strikes the face like this, and then we turn at the end and we go to palm strikes the face. This movement is a piece of that movement. But I see sometimes this happens, right? Because it becomes not a transition, it becomes something else, like it was completely different. But that's where you have that common category more. It's a parry and punch. When you're, say after you did the planting punch here, then we turn. This is the same parry and punch, but it's broken down into two separate pieces. We did this as a planting punch, which is actually like this if we were doing it through the after fan through the back. So the difference is that this is in the front position. Now when we turn, this movement is like at the end, that's still a parry and punch. So you see how you're not really learning lots of different postures, it's the same motions. But the body has to be able to cross-reference it and identify with it, and then it falls into a category of those movements. And they actually become simpler in a sense that you didn't have to learn three different things, you only learn one. So that's what the body learns over time to adapt. Just like high pat the horse, palm strikes face. Once the body knows this, then the timing between the turn and the setup, all of these become sort of the natural course of what your body would do. So that's your torso, your waist, and then the legs. So you have the body is actually divided into, say, three sections. Upper body, those are your appendages. Lower body appendages, your legs. Torso is the middle piece. So those areas have to come together. So when you talk about hand, eye, body, waist, and stance, the hand and eye, hands are arms, upper body, eyes, that relationship between hand-eye coordination. Body is your body form with different postures. The waist is your torso. And the legs is your lower half, the lower appendages. So they're categorized into those 5 different elements that have to come together as the 5 coordinations, and those should work together. Now, each one of those have a method, method being, what is the purpose of those. So the eyes, you're training your eyes to follow so that you develop perception and relationship between your appendages and your space. That's hand-eye coordination. Then the body is the body form. Body form is muscle memory for final position. Transitions is what ties the upper to the lower through your waist, and then the leg work is shifting and stability and where the power comes from. So all of these things are concepts, and as you evolve, you use the form as a vehicle. That's all it is. It houses it like a book. You can take your book and you can read it over and over again and decide what it's going to do as far as information. Because everything that you read or see or do is interpreted, and that interpretation is based on level of understanding. So as your understanding evolves, your interpretation is going to be different. So what you hear day 1 is going to be different with the same information than what you hear day 100, because your understanding of perception has changed. So some people sometimes are pretty rigid in their ways of thinking and say, well, I heard that this is the way it's supposed to be, but that doesn't allow you to evolve, because the mind has to evolve like the body has to evolve. So that's what advancing is. That's what developing a better skill level is. And along with that, you begin to understand more about, some of these benefits. So, any questions? No. So one of the things we also work on is body alignment, ligaments and tendons. So ligaments and tendons are the end of the muscle groups that connect to your skeleton, and when one contracts, it causes the part to move. So, we deal with those ligaments and tendons by how you use them, whether it's the correct alignment of the position, the way the joint is moving. So the spine is actually, people have a lot of problems with the spine, right? Because the musculature in the back is not manipulated. It's just kind of there like a lump and just holds you up into a erect position and doesn't really move because we don't learn to move it. Certain disciplines use it more than others. In fact, Tai Chi uses it a lot, although it takes many years of practice before you can control how your spine is actually working. But it's the waist movement. So the lower lumbar area, where a lot of people have trouble with because of the pain, because the circulation is not good there. There's very few blood vessels in that area because that's how it's kind of designed. There's not a lot of muscles right in the back of here. There's not a lot of muscle there. It's all connective tissue in the two joints that are there. Those are the ones that you would injure when you move wrong or lift something too heavy, because they're like any other joint that could kind of get tweaked, and then there's nerves. So that's why you get discomfort. But the back right here, because this area is always rigid, when you turn or you move the wrong way, you get those slip discs in this area. So that's why a lot of people that do a lot of physical work wear these weight things, these belts. Actually, I don't think they're good, because what it does is restricts the body's, the weight, the back is probably not, you're doing it in the wrong position. That's why, so it does give you some support, like weightlifters use it, and support only in one direction. It doesn't allow any mobility. So if you're wearing those all day long, it's not good for your back, because you're not allowing to have mobility. So without that mobility, you get bad circulation, and the muscles get weak in a voluntary type thing. So when we turn, the body is capable of doing that, but if you don't turn it, it becomes dysfunctional. And what do? You're holding it stiff all the time. So whenever you're going to do something, there's, like lifting, you have to create some rigidity in response to what your body has to do to deal with the forces. But at the same time, if you're in that position too long and the muscle's not conditioned for that, your back will get strained, because it's like this for too long. You're not conditioned to do that. So then you end up tweaking your back. So that these things are just, people don't think about it, but when they hurt their back, they say, oh, what did I do? What you did was move wrong, and the muscles are not adapting. Now, if you move your torso the way you're supposed to over time, your recovery will be much faster, because the circulation in those areas will be working better. But if it's all knotted up, which is how most bodies are, it's kind of tight and stiff, it doesn't allow anything. So as a defensive mechanism, what does your body do? It keeps it stiff. That's part of your proprioception actually does that. When you injure yourself, when you do something, you can't do it, doesn't feel right, because your body says don't do that. And that happens up here. That proprioception sends the signals up in your brain that says don't do that movement, because there's something wrong there, and it hurts. So that's how amazing your system is. What's that? Oh, story of your life. How amazing your body is? oh, your hip. Okay. Okay, bow. Okay. So Maria.